Hi, my name is Thais Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to manage anxious thoughts and self-soothe when you're in a long-distance relationship and there's a pain point or a challenge that's taking place. So first and foremost, I really want you to understand that anxious thoughts are basically the result of negative beliefs that have to be worked on or unmet needs that have to be communicated. And I'm going to really break this down into tangible, specific steps and tools. So first and foremost, you have to understand that anxiety is always about the past in some form, which is being projected onto a potential future. So for example, if you're in your first relationship, maybe your first year in high school, and if you've never seen people cheat in relationships, you're not really likely to have a huge fear of people cheating. But if you saw cheating in your household, if you saw cheating with friends' relationships, or if you have already been cheated on in a past relationship, that fear is more likely to take place. So what that's actually about is that there was some kind of unprocessed pain point, which is basically a small trauma. And that's imprinted your subconscious mind. And so anxiety will be produced when the potential of that imprint being activated or taking place again gets projected onto a future scenario. So if you've had a past with cheating and then you see, oh my gosh, the person's not calling me back, and the last time that happened to me, I got cheated on, that trigger of the person not calling you back will catalyze that imprint that's stored at the subconscious level. So we can actually do something about that to stop that from happening and to actually work through that, and especially to prevent that stuff from coming back, because the subconscious mind can be reprogrammed in the same way and through the same methods and principles that programmed it to begin with. The way that we acquired those imprints in the first place, we can use those same principles to remove those imprints. So that's number one. And then number two is anxiety can also come from unmet needs. So if we, for example, have an unmet need for transparency, for validation, then what happens is we feel emotional pain or discomfort. And that's actually our subconscious mind trying to give us feedback to say, hey, something's out of alignment, something's not working. And pain is there to prod us to adapt and to do something about it. And this works in all forms, right? Physical pain is there as feedback. Don't walk on your foot if you hurt your foot. Physical pain or emotional pain is there as feedback to say, hey, there's something going on here. You have to pay attention to it and try to solve for it. So how can we actually use this information in the context of a long distance relationship? Well, when you have anxious thoughts, what you have to first realize is that anxious thoughts are feedback. And so what you want to find is, number one, what is creating this? Is there some kind of past wound or pain point that's being activated or that's showing up for me? And if so, what is that? And what will make me feel better? Okay. And what you're really looking for is your needs. So number one, let's say your past pain point is fear of abandonment. So what you have to ask yourself when you feel those anxious thoughts, in order to help yourself self-soothe, you can say, okay, so I'm feeling these anxious thoughts. They're clearly giving me feedback. What are they trying to communicate to me? And how can I solve for them in this specific situation? And so you might go, okay, I have this fear of abandonment. Okay, well, what would make me feel better? And oftentimes we'll identify our fears in relationships or our wounds, and we'll sometimes get there, but we won't get to the point of like then actively taking steps to be for the solution and to solving for those fears. And so if we can then turn around and go, okay, well, what would make me feel better? And we can do a deep dive into that. Is it transparency? Is it more consistent habits in your relationship? Is it reassurance from your partner? Is it giving yourself some encouragement or reassurance about how you're enough and how the relationship or connection is going well? What can you do to be a part of the solution? And what you're actually doing in this process is you are taking that emotional feedback, those anxious thoughts, you are going inwards. You're pulling up the subconscious information like, hey, is it about a need? Is it about some kind of scary trauma that I've had in the past that's being activated, about being abandoned or betrayed, and what is this all about? And then you're using your conscious mind to help solve your subconscious mind's unmet needs or pain points. And so what you're actually enabling yourself to do is help yourself soothe yourself, which really means your conscious mind soothe your subconscious mind by getting this information, utilizing it for a specific habit or strategy that's helpful and constructive. And then what you have to do is execute on that conversation, for example. So if it's a need about validation or a need about clarity in the relationship or whatever it might be, then you want to use that information and go have a healthy conversation in a premeditated way. Because sometimes when we do it in spur of the moment, when we're triggered, it doesn't go so well. But if we really plan for it a little bit and we think about what's healthy and appropriate, then we can also ensure the best outcomes in the relationship dynamic. So this is a really great starting tool for self-soothing. We have so much more that we can talk about when it comes to self-soothing, needs, boundaries, all these really important keys to healthy, thriving relationships. And if you want to do a much deeper dive, I highly recommend checking out our 14-day course. And it's a 14 days of like going and doing a deep dive into all of the major components that make relationships thrive and getting your own personal blueprint in those areas so you know what your tools are, what you might be missing, what you can improve upon. And then there's actual habits and strategies to do that improvement work. And this will ensure that you can have a more lasting, thriving, empowering relationship where you feel truly seen and heard and like yourself and like you're being yourself and that somebody is receiving that. So you can check that out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.